Hey, welcome everyone. It is John the Net Guy, and today I'm going to tell you about Eleanor. This is my custom PC build for a friend who wanted me to build him an attractive, high-performance PC so he can play with his son. This is Eleanor. So what's inside this gaming machine? Well, she's rocking an Intel i7-12700KF. This is an excellent gaming CPU, and it has long legs, so it's going to last several more generations of gaming and upgrades. Being a 12th gen, this is the LGA 1700 socket, but it features 8 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and 20 total computing threads. So whether you're playing multi-processing games like Microsoft Flight Simulator, or you're playing more simple games like Fortnite or Minecraft that may do less multi-processing, this CPU's got the chops to keep up. How much, in fact? Well, the Cinebench R23 numbers that I was able to get out of this system, over 20,000 multi-core score on Cinebench and a near 2,000 score in the single core. That means, again, regardless of the type of game you're playing, the CPU is not going to be a bottleneck. To help get those bits in and out of the CPU, we've got some RAM. This is their T-Force Delta RGB memory. They come in white or black sticks. They're very attractive, as you can see, and they have individual addressable RGBs. Now, these can be connected to your motherboard software. In the case of my Asus board, they're directly controllable right from the software, and you can adjust the colors and the lighting intensity. How does the memory perform? Well, this memory performed at 89th percentile. That means that this memory is 9th fastest out of 10, with 10 being the best. And lastly, for game storage, we have the Western Digital SN770 2TB storage drive. What's nice about this one is the 5150 megabytes per second read speed, and it had nearly that on the write speed. When I tested it, it actually got over 5,200 megabytes per second, beating its own benchmark, and it's a PCI Express Gen 4x4. To keep everything cool, I've got the Dracena 120mm all-in-one cooling system. The radiator fits nice up top, has a nice water block with an infinity mirror in here, and all the piping is connected and sealed, so you don't have to do anything but install it. Additionally, it comes with an RGB controller with extra ports for your standard PWM fans and your addressable RGB, as well as a remote control so you can change colors at any time. So the motherboard for this build is that B760i, so it is a very small ITX build. It's going to be for the LGA 7700 series CPU, so that's going to be in here, and it's got a cover over the pins because we don't want to hurt those. 4 SATA ports here, USB 3, USB-C, those are those two. One's a PCI 16X slot, but that's just because, again, this is an ITX board. Love the fact that it has the integrated backplate. It's going to have your super speed USB-C, 2 of them. It's going to have a bunch of extra USB, 2.5 gig Ethernet, so you're going to have all the networking you want. Built-in Wi-Fi 6E, HDMI output. If you're using a chip that has HDMI built in, you can do that. And then if we come back over to here, you can see it's going to have a bunch of additional I/O ports. You're going to also have your CPU power header up here. So it does have one M.2 slot on the back here. And the beauty of that is it's just going to look really, really clean. So when we get this all installed, we won't have to worry about any hard drives or anything sticking out. It's going to be a really, really clean build. The GPU for this build is going to be the PNY RTX4060. The performance is about the same as an RTX2080. So we've been looking at that between the 2080 and the 4060 with this buyer. The power supply is a little bit of an interesting mix here. So this is harder to find an SFX power supply in the larger ranges. I happen to get a great deal on a bunch of these Cooler Master V850s. It is an SFX power supply, so it will fit in your ITX builds. But what's neat about the Tower is it doesn't actually require the smaller power supply. The very large Tower 100. This case is my Eleanor. So it's a gorgeous looking case when you build in it. It's not that tough to build in especially for an ITX build, which can usually be a little more challenging. So I wouldn't have any problem saying build this for a beginning builder, but there is one quirk at the top that I'll show you, because kind of everything comes through the top on this one, including your I/O, which is kind of interesting. It comes out the top side versus a lot of the other ITX cases. It's either the bottom or the back. So another interesting thing. So that is the complete build here with everything that we've got. This thing fits in the palm of my hand, and it's about, gosh, compared to a standard PC power supply, maybe 45%, 50% the size. But you can see it has all the necessary I/O and all the cables that you want. So that's the SFX. Now it does come with a bracket here, and so you can kind of see the difference in size. So this bracket is if you want to run it in a full-size case. So you can see volume-wise, a lot smaller in size. But if you want to run it as a full-size, you can do that and just use the adapter. So I'm going to pull the power supply out because we're going to need that. Now we're going to install the CPU, memory, and all the other components. So this is the 12700KF. So there's the CPU here itself. You can see the back side is all pads, and that's because of the FPGA. So I'm going to go ahead and open this CPU up here, and you can kind of take a look at it. So there is the bottom of the CPU, and you can see all of those little pads. Now the CPU is going to have a registration mark in the corner. It's going to have this little tiny light gold in this case. Hopefully you can see that. That tells you which direction it needs to go in, and on here it has that little notch in the corner as well. So as we're taking the socket up, you can pull this out. So I'm going to put the CPU in with that socket lined up and just set it down. So that's the easiest way to do it. Then as you push this down, that's going to click off, and you've protected the pins the entire time. You haven't had anything able to drop on them. If you needed to stop, you could do that. Just double checking the tension on this, which looks good, and there we go, CPU's installed. So memory wise, you can see where that notch is and see if it's lined up. So I'm going to line it up with the notch on the motherboard. And a lot of times you have to put the memory in straight down. You don't do one side and then click it, but you have to do it straight down on these when they only have a single side. So now, other trick, if you're putting the second stick in, just look at which side had the barcode on it, because that's going to be the same one usually. So I can do the same thing on the second stick of RAM, line it up here, line it up there, push down, and that will automatically close. So we got our RAM in there. That's a good sign. There is the Western Digital Black, the SN770. I've actually got, in the gaming machine behind me, I've got the SN850, and it is an absolute rocket as well. So doesn't have any built-in cooling, but honestly, there wouldn't be any room for additional cooling here. So to install this, you simply put it in at an angle, tilt down, and then press down, and it'll lock an index right here on that screw head. I'm going to go ahead and take the GPU here, and we're going to line it up and lock that into place. So pretty compact looking little PC so far. Let's get the power supply out and plug in our power. The GPU, unlike some of the other 4000 series, looks like it only takes one set of PCI Express cables. Looks like it's going to have a full control board here, making sure it sticks through, get some pressure on it. So this is an interesting choice on the cooler. So I'm going to have to put the brackets on the bottom of the pump. This is going to go up on the top, and this is going to mount to the board. So the board is actually going to be oriented upward in the case like this. I like to put about a pea size in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and take the power supply, connect it up here. Power supply is on. 2 terabyte drive, 32 gigs of memory. The memory is not at the exact speed we want yet. That's okay. We're going to work on that. I'll talk about that in just a second. We've got a Wi-Fi motherboard. It is the right motherboard. Make sure you turn on your DOCP or XMP profile. It'll be labeled, and that's going to take the higher of the memory settings here. This is the machine itself. That's all the components for it. One thing you'll notice is that this fan doesn't spin in the Cooler Master. It's completely normal. Because this thing is so energy efficient, it'll only turn the fan on when it needs it if you're using this exact same layout. And that has a really gorgeous RGB look. The Tower 100 is a very open layout, so I wanted to have a really good looking RGB set. So with these 3 pieces, just doing motherboard RGB is going to be really, really on point. I think that's going to look great. So this is how the I/O works on this case. It literally is a press down and pop up. You pull this grating out and it's going to have all of your cables and zip ties and everything, including a fan up top here already. Now it does have little block offs, plastic ones for the bottom. If you don't want to see through to certain parts of the case, you can put those in, which is really neat. So your motherboard's actually going to sit right here. The fan we're going to actually attach underneath because we want to be able to see it. So I believe, if I remember right, these plastic plates can go down here and lock in to block the view. You can either install the power supply like this so that the grate is at the bottom and the air comes in and then out the back, or you can install it this way if you want to bring air from the inside of the PC out the back. There's two ways to install. Really is personal preference and, you know, planning out your airflow. This whole tray can come out. We're not necessarily going to take that out, but let me show you a little bit of what this is going to start to look like. So something like this. That's the CPU fan right there. That's the tower. Now I can put it up this way, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and then I'm going to hit the power switch. And we're going to get our first look at the Dracenea AIO. This is on Eleanor, the T100. Oh, she's looking great. She's in the blue phase here, kind of going through the addressable RGB. So I can actually insert the top with everything going. So that's what it's going to look like. And I can fix the RGB to specific colors I want, like red, green, blue. Come on. Blue, so I can control those. I can do an auto mode, so that's a rainbow effect basically. We're taking a look at the View Edge CS27FK. It's a 27-inch 1080p monitor. It boasts 180 hertz refresh rate, and it is an incredibly budget value conscious monitor. So it's going to have some very small, very thin instructions. It's going to talk about how to set up the base for this. It is going to be a AC adapter powered monitor with a US plug. It's non-removable, so it's just US only. 12 volts, 3 amps. Now, the one advantage I would say about 12 volts is if you want to use this in an RV or camper or other van life situation, you absolutely can, which is cool. So it's an HDMI cable. So if you're wondering how long the HDMI that's included is, about 5 feet. 2 HDMI and a display port. Audio for headphones and a DC input. Now to get this to go in, you're just going to slide this up. It does have tilt forward and back. The base, this is going to be a small issue, but there's enough flex in the base, even though I have it completely snapped in, that this monitor will have some forward and back tilt. So you can see, very thin panel. They're just getting so much thinner. Even a budget panel these days is thin, and then it has very small bezels. So what I'm going to do is plug it in, and we're going to plug it into our brand new gaming PC that we just built. So there's the View Edge monitor with the PC that we just finished building. Drivers haven't activated anything, but I do just want to see how it looks. So far, colors, it does have some color wash. If I move to the side, I'm just trying to get a good straight on angle. You're seeing it at a slight side angle too. The refresh rate is noticeable. Like, you can see how smooth this is. I'm getting almost the full 180 here. Yeah, I'm getting that 4060 is putting some work in here. You can see how smooth that is. It's looking really good. But we're going to see max FPS is 203, minimum is 135. But machine is working really nicely. So we're chilling right now. Current is 28C. So this thing, 30C, that 120 mil AIO is really keeping the temperatures down, which is impressive. We're not running a super big load on it right now, but that's really slick. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run just the crystal disk mark here, because this is for the SN770 was the hard drive we have in here. It's an NVMe drive. Usually I would make sure Windows is not doing any updates and a bunch of other stuff, but I'm just doing a quick non-scientific test here. I want to see what the read and write speeds are, and then we'll shut down for the night. And we're about to get the write speed test. And look at that, 4,900 megabytes per second right off the bat, 4,909. So that's Eleanor. She's an incredibly fast performing, excellent looking, and hopefully very stable computer that I can deliver to my friend today. This has been John the Net Guy. Thanks for watching.